Hello everyone, my name is Nitin. I have around 16 years of experience and I am working as a front-end architect in Vonage Technologies. So today I'm going to talk about micro front-end. And in this talk, I'm not going to take you to a tour of React, Angular, Vue or Svelte, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a hands-on demo where I would be taking you to a micro front-end journey using vanilla JavaScript. That's correct. You hear it right. I'm going to create an application using vanilla JavaScript, which will give you an idea of how you can do this stuff for creating micro front-end. With this, let me start the presentation here. So what is micro front-end and why everyone is everyone is after micro front-end? There is a lot of buzzword around micro front-end. So I'm not going to tell you about the benefits of micro front-end, but I'm going to give you one survey which happened lately on over the internet, that why people are going to implement and why the front-end ecosystem is looking after micro front-end. So this is a short snippet of that survey. If you look at this closely, this table suggests that the front-end community is talking about increased complexity on the front-end side, which means that they found that features are getting added on the front-end side day by day, as we have seen as well that we are moving from web 2.0 to 3.0, where those applications require much more complex operations, much more complex user interfaces. That eventually means that we are going to add more features into it. So to decrease that complexity, the front end community is looking for micro front end. The other row, if you look at this, is the large code base. Definitely this is one of the major drawback of the existing architecture styles available in the front end fraternity, right? If I look at from the front end code base, it is like monolithic in nature. Whatever you build there, it remains in a single large code base, whether it is building an enterprise application or a small application or a medium scale application. Every bit of your code reside in a single code base. That's again promotes micro front end, because micro front end tends to solve all these issues. Now, apart from these front end growth, which includes complexity, large code base, people are also facing challenges in scalability. How we can scale our front end application? I mean, there are different architectural styles available in the other part of the world, which is like backend. So they are using microservices to overcome those challenges of scalability. But what is there for the front end developer? So that's why people are looking for micro front end. So this is a short survey done by the community, and this community is very famous over the internet. And now let me take you to, so we understand why there is a buzz around micro front end, but now let me take you to a theoretical part of what is micro front end. So I'm not going to teach you micro front end in theory. There are lots of definition available over the internet where you can read about micro front end. But some of the notable definitions which I have pasted here, one is from the ThoughtWorks, the other one is from the TopTal, and there are other bunch of definitions as well. But I'm not going to take you deeper into this. I am going to take you to a definition which I have orchestrated based on all these definition, which is more plain, right? Plain in nature, so that it can directly hit the brain and it can reside there forever. So let me start the definition of a micro frontend by giving you in a bulleted point. So on the front end side, we talk about features. Features are like, can be also mapped to components as well, but features are like which are complete in their sense, which is like front to back. Search could be a feature, for example, right? Listing could be a feature in an Amazon site, or displaying a movie could be a feature on a movie listing site. So those can be referred as features. So what could be a micro front end is like, which can be developed independently, right, as a feature which can be developed and tested independently, and then on top of that can be deployed independently. So if you look at these 3 points, these are like, the main points for to suggest that there is a micro front end, and if you need to qualify it as a micro front end, it needs to have these 3 qualities: that the feature can be developed independently, tested independently, and then deployed independently. But if you look at from the backend side of the world, this looks very similar to microservices as well. So are we going to adopt, or are we adopting a microservices kind of style here? Certainly not, because it's not one-to-one mapping of microservices here. If you look from the front-end developer lens. Why so? Let me give you that part as well. So this definition which I have just given to you is half baked, it's not full baked, right? So what is the full baked one? So let me add the second part into it, which is this. So all these features, if are developed independently, tested independently, and deployed independently, but from the front-end lens, these all features need to be assembled together to make a composite UI for the end user who is going to use it. Let's take an example of what I have, there on the screen. If you look at the right-hand side, this is an Amazon, home page. The rounded boxes, the red rounded boxes can be referred as features here. These features have been developed, tested, and deployed independently. But now when for the end user, these are like coming on a single page in a composable manner, and then it's not giving a feel to the end user that these features have been developed independently, or these features are not related to each other. So for the end user, these feature needs to be like a composite UI. So that's what it actually differs from the microservices world. So this is the extra burden that we need to do in terms of implementing micro frontend on the front-end side. Now we understood this micro frontend definition. Let me just reiterate it so that you can also grab it in your mind and don't forget it ever. So the features need to be independently developed, tested, deployed, and on top of that, these needs to be assembled by some piece to create a composite UI. So I think by now we are clear on the micro front end. Let me take you to the next slide about the recipe. So how we can build micro front end? There are tons of frameworks available on the internet which will help you to create micro front ends, right? Some of the notable frameworks that I have used personally are Logi, Pyral, Single SPA, Module Federation. So these are some of the frameworks which I have used for my own or for my company purposes. But there are tons of frameworks available there. And why there are so many frameworks available, I think I have already given you a reference on the first slide, which is people are looking for solutions to overcome the problems of increasing features on the front end side, increasing their the problems with the increased code base on the front end side. So all these problems have one solution with the name micro front end. So these frameworks are like going to help you. They have written all these frameworks have been written on top of JavaScript, where they have provided some kind of abstraction over an infrastructure layer, which will help you to not write those very deep rooted code. You only need to focus on writing the features. Don't forget about the infrastructure part there. So I'm going to talk about one of the recipe today, which I have used a lot, which is module federation, right? So module federation again is basically a plugin available inside Webpack 5, and it will help you to build micro front end, though it's not meant for that, but eventually as a side objective of this module federation, you can build micro front end very easily nowadays. So let me now move to the module federation. We will first understand what is module federation, and then we will see how it can be used in building micro front end application. So first part first, what is module federation? Module federation, as I already shared, it's basically one of the plugin available inside Webpack. Webpack, I mean, we know about that. Webpack is used as a module bundler. It's there in almost every applications, though there are alternatives available to it. But yes, majority of the applications are still using module federation. Webpack as a module bundler. So what module federation is? So module federation is basically, it helps you to share code between different applications. So right now, what we are doing in our front end application, if we have some kind of module bundler, we generally import the reusable code from the npm libraries, right? We go and then install the npm library, npm module, and then if we require a new version, we have to again go back and then again update that npm module at the compile time only. And that's not a very good approach, because micro frontend allows you to do this at a runtime only. But in case of node modules, if you want to do that part, this is not going to work. Second, because module federation helps you to segregate your code and then load that code as a dependency, it also provides a feature of loading that code at a runtime, not at the compile time, but at a runtime. What do we mean by dynamic loading of a code at a runtime? So let's say I have a React as a dependency in my application. How I am going to load that dependency? I have to do yarn install or yarn add or something like that to load it into my workspace. And if I have to upgrade that React to a latest version, I have to again do that update command there. I have to run that command again. So this is more of a local loading of React from a local repository, which is there somewhere. And then I'm loading that React module from that local repository. But let's suppose I have to do this job at a runtime dynamically. How can I do that part? So that's something which can be achievable through module federation. The third feature of module federation is that if there are any other dependencies which are missing, and when you are loading that remotely or dynamically, if the dependencies are not listed there, the module federation is going to take care of that. So you don't need to worry about that. You just need to look at the remote entry. I mean, these are some of the buzzwords which I'm going to show in the real demo, and then soon you will understand what do you mean by remote entry, dynamic loading of modules at runtime, and the other stuff. So these are some of the notable points you need to consider while looking for module federation as approach, that this is a runtime approach of building micro frontend. It helps you in sharing the code from different MFEs to your one hosted MFEs. It also helps you in downloading the missing dependencies if there are any. Now, let me take you to the next part, which is if we want to use module federation to build micro frontend, how we can do that part, right? As we know, we know the definition already of micro frontend. It needs to be developed independently, tested independently, and deployed independently. How it is going to match with the module federation, right? So module federation also recommends to have an autonomous module. It suggests that if your two modules are totally independent, they are not sharing any dependencies between them, then it can be qualified as an autonomous module in module federation. So by nature, it also suggests and support autonomous module. Of course, once you have autonomous module, that means you can independently deploy those modules for your testing as well. And then finally, when you have those modules running on different ports, you can integrate those modules together with some runtime integrations provided inside the module federation plugin. So that's how they marry with each other, because the definition which is there in the microfrontend can be fulfilled using module federation. Now I'm going to take you to a live demo where I'm going to demo you how we can build microfrontend using plain JavaScript. The reason behind showing plain JavaScript with microfrontend is that there are many articles where you can see that this can be built using React, Angular, or whatnot. But the essence of module federation, which is one of the recipe of building microfrontend, will get lost, because it's not something that only meant for these frameworks only, like React, Angular, or Vue. It's available for everyone who wants to write their application using plain JavaScript. So that's why I just want to maintain that essence and want to show you that how you can build it with a plain JavaScript concept. So with this, let me take you to the code that I have written, some of the code which I've already written. Hope you can see this code block. Let me zoom it for a bit. So this is a plain JavaScript project that I have created using one of the accelerator called Create MF app, right? Let's see the directory structure here. So this is the plain directory structure. We have node modules, we have src folder, we have the package.json, we have the web config. Now, what is there in the web config? If you see closely, this is one of the plugin available, as I told you, as module federation plugin. This plugin is going to help me bisect the code and make it available to get integrated at runtime. So that's I'm going to show you with the in few minutes from now. But let's quickly see what is there in my app.js. So this is a plain JavaScript file. What I have written here is that I've imported one component, which is header, and then I have included this header component into my HTML like this. Hope you can see this. Let me zoom it a bit more so that you can see it clearly. Now, what is there in the header? So this is a plain header which I have written here. So the way I have written the header class here is that I have extended the HTML element using the HTML API, and then this is one of the life cycle method that I have called, which gets triggered once your element get attached to a DOM. So this is a plain HTML that I have written here, a style, and then followed by an HTML elements. So if you look at this, here I have defined that this is going to be a header. It should come at the top as a nav element, and it is going to point out to a particular HTML. So this is a very plain HTML JavaScript kind of work I have written here. Now, after that, I have registered this element as a custom element, named it as a main header, and I have defined it using one of the, again, HTML API provided by the browser, which is custom element. So now if I want to use it, how can I use it? I just need to import it, and I need to declare it as the custom element name that I have given there. So let me quickly show this. So this is running on 4000 port. Let me quickly show you that part, how it looks like. Okay, localhost 4000. So this is the outcome of that. So if you see this project has been built using vanilla JavaScript. There is no CSS framework I have used inside it, just to make the simplicity there. So if you look at this is the header which is coming out of that custom element that I have created with the name main header. Okay. So what is there in the webpack config? Let me take you to that part as well. So if you look at the web config here, I have given couple of entries here. What I have given here is that the first entry I have given here is of name, which is remote header. So I want that whatever module I want to publish from this application can be traced back using this remote header. After that, what I'm saying here is in the expose object is that this particular workspace is going to expose this particular header.js component under this namespace. So that's how I have made this header component accessible outside this world when this is going to be available at the runtime. Okay. The file name where it is going to capture or assemble all the traces of my header.js will be named as remote entry.js. So and what it's going to be covered, let me also show you that part quickly, real quick. So if I just see this, if I just going to add a remote entry.js after that, you can see that, right, what I mean by, and if I look for header, you will see this is the remote header module, and inside that all my code which I have written in the header.js is there. Now this is available publicly at runtime, right? I can access it. Now let me take you to the another workspace, which is the footer one. Okay, so we are in the footer, almost similar to header, but here I have created a footer which will come at the bottom of the application. Very much similar structure, but inside, I mean, instead of header we have footer here, almost similar to the header class that I have written there. We have written footer here, but we have we have given a custom element name here, and we are using it with this element now. So if you look at the app.js, I'm using it here. By the way, this particular application is running on 4001. So let me quickly show you this part as well, how it is running. Okay, where is this? Okay, so localhost 4001. So this is footer, right? If you see this is header, this is footer. Now these two applications have their own code base, have their own project structure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more application where I'm going to use these two applications outcome there. So let me quickly show you that part, and I'm going to do this in a real fashion. I'm going to code real quick here to show you how we can assemble those two pieces, those two features, header and footer, here, so that it looks like a composite UI for the end user. That's what I'm going to show you. So first thing first, let's go and then see the web config here, right? If you see this web config, this is the web config where we have almost similar entries: remote entry, shared, remotes, exposes. So what I'm going to do here now is that I'm going to define the entries which I am going to import dynamically at runtime from the remotes that are running on my local in real fashion. So how can I define that part? Let me show you this thing. So I'm going to call it like header, and then what I'm going to do is remote header, right? Why I'm calling it as a remote header? Because if you look at this thing here, I have marked the header module as remote header. So whatever the name I have given here, it needs to come out here as well, remote header. So that's the convention module federation follow. After that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that remote entry, which I have shown you here, which is this one. So I'm going to copy this URL and then paste it here. What this going to be? I mean, what after adding this statement, the header component, which is running on 4000, would be available inside my this project, which is a kind of host for us. Similar to this, let me add one more entry for the footer. I'm just doing that real quick to save some time here. And because I've given the footer there, and because this application is running on 4001, so this means now the two features that I've built separately are now available to this particular project at runtime. Let me save it, but I have not used that. I mean, used these modules in my application. So let me quickly do that part as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import these two projects real quick. Okay. So import header from, what is the name of that thing? I have given header inside header. So this is the header, points to this, and inside this we have a header called this one. Similar to this, we have one thing coming from the footer as well, and then from footer. Okay, real quick, that's okay. Now what I'm going to do now is I am going to use the header inside this. Now how can I call this? How can I use this? By calling those two custom elements that we have defined inside their own project. Okay, main header, and then real quick, I'm going to do this with footer. Because I've done some changes in the web config, so I need to bundle it again. Okay. Wow. So if you see this thing, this is my header, this is my footer, and all this is coming from real time. So if you look at this, this is like a composite UI, which has feature 1 as header, feature 2 as my footer, coming in real-time fashion from my independent, deployable, testable business features. If you see this here, so this feature, which is a header feature, can be tested, can be developed, and can be deployed independently as what we have here now. Okay. So with this, let me jump back to my presentation, because that's what I can cover in this 30 minutes. So thanks for listening me. And if you have any question, you can reach out to me at the Twitter handle that I've given here. Thank you very much.